We've all been on the end of those 1-0 losses due to some schmuck completely freezing you out on offense. Time to show you guys how to be Sub-Zero and freeze these bitches yourselves. I'm No Sleeves 12, and this is how to lock it down. Okay guys, I'm going to show you some tips today that are no doubt going to completely change how you play in the defensive zone. And I guarantee for some it's going to be difficult to adjust. But if you want to succeed more, this is how. Now I never say I'm elite, but in the defensive zone I am. And my struggles are on offense, not defense. And I'm going to show you the things that I do in the defensive zone to keep me in almost every game no matter how good the opponent is. Now if you're in Div 1 or you're in the top couple hundred for Versus, you probably use these tips anyways. The guys that get lost in the defensive zone, this is for you. I'm going to go into detail about all of them, but here are the main points on how to play defense in NHL 17. First up, never ever control your defenseman in your own zone. Just like on the forecheck, the AI is better than you at playing defense. So once the play is in your zone, make sure you do your best to get out of being on your defenseman. Choose your centerman or a winger immediately. Next point is hold R2 while defending the rush. Holding R2 will auto-select the last player back for you. Now, while playing the D-man in your own zone is suicide, leaving your AI to defend a 2-on-1 or a rush down the wing is equally deadly. Holding R2 to auto-select the furthest player back just to make sure that you can defend the rush correctly. Now, I don't really have any clips of this myself, so I'll use one of an opponent, but never check. Going for a hit is probably the most satisfying thing to do, but almost 90% of the time it's going to result in a breakaway or an odd man rush the other way. There's a way more effective way to crush your opponent, which I'll explain in a little bit, but still, it's never recommended. And here's my biggest piece of advice that's going to help you considerably, especially against better players. Never have your eyes locked on the player with the puck. Now, obviously, off the rush, you need to read and be in a good position to disrupt the entry or block a shot, but I'm talking specifically in your own end. As the opponent cycles and drags the puck around, he's looking for one of three things. One is an open path for the short side wrister, one is an open lane for the cross crease, and the other is an open way to the point. To counter this, if you focus solely on blocking all of those options, you're going to frustrate and lock down the opponent much easier while your AI defensemen retrieve the puck. Now I want to break down specific ways players will try and score on you. Once you know these, it'll be much more easier for you to stop them. And in case you haven't seen my strategies video, I'll be showing you how to use the staggered setup with puck side attack. Now these will change if you're playing someone who literally attempts only one method to score. With that being said, let's get started. Let's start with the wrist shot short side. First thing to remember when defending this goal is that players can only do this with players on their off wing, meaning a left winger coming down the right side of your screen needs to be right-handed for your opponent to be able to curl into the middle and try this shot. So once you know that that isn't an option, completely remove it from your train of thought, because he's going to have to try something else. Now, the easiest way to defend this goal is to hold R2 to select the furthest defenseman back, as this goal mostly comes off the rush, and just position yourself in between him and your goalie. Simple enough, but I see so many people collapse back in a straight line only to leave me with an opportunity to curl into the middle. I recommend not crouch blocking, as this can sometimes take you out of position when just being in between the player and the goalie is enough for the block. Secondly, remember this goal can be done just inside the line, so the same rule applies. Stay in between him and the net, and don't bite or go for the poke, just let him try and fail. Lastly, this can be scored when your opponent is down low below your net and will look to curl out into the slot. Remember what I said, don't control your D-man and don't focus on the puck. While you're watching for open lanes to clog, remember that this is a lane, and at some point your AI defenseman will pressure him enough to try and make his move. You're already going to be in the way to intercept. This method will allow you to completely eliminate this goal. Being scored on this way means that you missed a lane somewhere, and it could have been avoided with a bit better awareness. Now on to the cross crease. This is the go-to for almost all players, as it's the highest success rate if it's executed correctly. First, I'd like to mention the tight point strat can get roasted by someone continually trying the cross crease. Staggered will defend this just fine, especially if you play it correctly. Defending this strat requires you to make sure you do not touch your defenseman while in the zone. The second you pull your defenseman, your opponent's going to have the slot wide open. Always control forward. Just like with the wrister, never ever focus solely on the puck. You focus on the open lanes, and this will kill this strat stone cold. Remember, if someone is just holding the puck for a cross crease and you're looking at the same open lane they are, you can defend it while your AI pressures them, making them force into a turnover. It's very simple to defend the cross crease. Now it's breakaways. This shouldn't happen very often with the strat setup I use, but bad bounces happen. So in case they spring a breakaway, the only way to for sure stop it is to control the goalie. If you're not catching the guy, then it's useless to chase. Holding down L1 plus X will allow you to take over your goalie. Now, a lot of you are going to laugh at attempting this, especially if you haven't played a second of goalie. And don't worry, I'll have an additional tutorial for that as well. Even if you have no idea what you're doing, just taking control of your goalie will oftentimes fuck with your opponent enough and force him to miss. But the surefire way to stop a breakaway is to hit up on the left stick and square, which will perform a pad stack poke check. Rarely can players counter this on a breakaway when they have little time to think. Now, if you are just behind the guy streaking on a breakaway, most players will attempt to go to the opposite side they are streaking down, so a well-timed poke check can ruin their day. Now, if you find yourself giving up more than 2 breakaways, you want to change your neutral zone from 1-2-2 blue to 1-4 or 1-3-1 to counter it. Now onto the point shot. This year's NHL has turned the point shot into one of the most effective goals, especially against skilled players, as tip-ins are so random. If you're playing with the collapsing D-strat, you're going to get killed by someone utilizing the point. Now, even though it is effective, it is the most dangerous, as the player's last line of defense can lose the puck and you're off on a breakaway. To counter this method, again, using staggered helps considerably, as you will have a player up top near the line to intercept cross-ice passes around the point. To defend the point shot, be sure to control forward and not bite when a player at the point has the puck. Stay in between the net and him and let him fire away. Again, focusing on the play and not the puck carrier will result in huge turnovers. If you can see a wide open D-man, chances are so can they. Hang out in the passing lane. If you're playing a guy dead set on point shots, just set your defensive strat to tight point, as they can't use their D-man if they're constantly being pressured. Lastly is the overload. In my last video I explained the overload is the best way to score in NHL, as it allows all the glitch goals to be had. Defending it is key, as once you're watching for it, you can notice really early and take away almost all options. Now you know it starts down low, and it's a series of passes up the boards, in the hopes you chase so that they can have a clear path to the net. The second you control your D-man, you're fucked. Someone who knows how to use overload will have their eyes light up the second you pull your D-man. What you want to do is just take a forward and hang out along the boards. This immediately takes away the strategy, as they can't make the passes required. Now with overload, all glitch goals are available, so you need to again be focusing on the play and not chase, but jamming the half boards will make this much harder for the opponent. Alright guys, so I hope that helps explain how to play defense a little bit better to you. Thanks for watching. I'm NoCease12. Stay average.
Everybody know our name, and if your dad is gone, but your mama's home, we can bring